You can make over $12,000 by just recording a simple YouTube video that gets 600 views. And today I'm going to explain exactly how that process works and why this is honestly the greatest money-making opportunity online that I have seen. And it all has to do with the new YouTube algorithm. Because frankly, YouTube has changed forever, but no one's really talking about it. And with the new algorithm, there is a new framework that I'm going to teach you that allows me to make over $100,000 every single month and make as much as $12,000 from just one video with 600 views. And by the way, that one video that made $12,000 isn't even mine. It's one of my clients named Daniel. You can see the exact video right here and the exact tracked earnings right here. Now, the reason he was able to make over $12,000 and the reason that I can make over $100,000 with only a couple hundred subscribers is because of the framework that I'm about to reveal to you right now. And the best part is that it's actually exceedingly simple, and honestly, most people just massively overcomplicate YouTube. So let me break it down. Step one is simply choosing your niche. Now that seems rudimentary enough, but you'd be surprised how many people get on YouTube, post POV lifestyle vlogs, and expect to get sales for their info product. When in reality, you have to choose a niche and then create a YouTube funnel around it. And as a matter of fact, that is step two. Step two is creating what I call your YouTube sales funnel. Because most people just think of YouTube as a place to get discovered, as a place to create top of funnel content, or even a place for followers to get to know you more. But that could not be further from the truth. Because in reality, the best way to make money off of YouTube is by leveraging what I call the YouTube funnel. So let me explain how that works. Because there are three types of videos that honestly anyone who wants to make money on YouTube should be posting. The first type of video is what I call a growth video. This is your top of funnel video, and we'll get to that shortly. The second style of video is a middle of funnel video, one that speaks directly to your core audience. And then the third is what I call a liquidation video, a video that actually makes you money. Now, we'll get to all that shortly, but let me tell you about step three, because step three is actually having an offer that you can sell on the back end of your channel. Because the entire point here is to get people interested in the solution that you provide and take people from not knowing anything about your solution and just having a problem to then wanting the solution you can provide. So let me explain why this is completely different to the way that YouTube used to work, because 5 years ago, 10 years ago, YouTube was just one big amalgamation of these big creators posting about their lives. And there were a handful of YouTubers that everybody knew and everybody loved. Whereas now, that could not be further from the truth, because the algorithm has entirely changed. Instead of being one big mumbo jumbo and certain videos get promoted to everyone, now it's literally the opposite. The way that the algorithm now works is that it promotes your video to a subset of your audience that YouTube thinks will enjoy that video. If that video then performs within that subset, it'll get pushed to a larger audience. But think of it not as one big market of YouTube. Think of it as small, very narrow highways where information can travel, where the videos can grow and reach viewers based on their unique interests. That means you can make a video with only 600 views, but the targeting is so on point because of this new algorithm that it reaches the exact 600 people where two of them are so interested in your solution that they end up buying and you make $12,000. Now, if we go back to step one, I told you that it's all about choosing your niche. So how do you actually choose it, and how do you package all your videos surrounding your niche? Well, the answer is everything should be related to your niche. Let's use Daniel as an example again. His niche is Airbnb. He teaches people how to make money with what he calls Airbnb management. That means his whole channel is about two things: Airbnb and how to make money online. Let's use another example. Let's say your channel is about how to become a better closer. Well, then your channel should be about how to close and how to make more money with closing. That means you should not be posting vlogs, you should not be posting lifestyle content, you should not be posting bullshit mindset content that your followers simply don't want. What you do need to post is content that addresses your audience's problem and then provide them with the requisite solution. So I've already explained that you need to have three types of videos on your channel, and that together these will create your YouTube sales funnel. But how do these actually differentiate, and what's the purpose behind them? Because it's honestly really, really simple. Growth videos are designed to grow your channel. You want to reach a broader audience, and the way to do that is by leveraging what are called outliers. Now, outliers are videos that have performed disproportionately well on other channels. And to be honest, there are really just a handful of outliers that pave their way through the YouTube algorithm every couple of months. And when you catch one of these outliers early, then your channel will perform disproportionately well. So you can even think of this. About 7 months ago, there was an outlier that paved its way through YouTube, which is I made X amount of dollars with Y vehicle, just copy me. Now there's an outlier that's paving its way through YouTube, which is give me X minutes and I will give you X years of knowledge. And all of these outlier packages are what then, in essence, create your top of funnel content, the content that reaches a broader audience. But once you have your top funnel content, you don't want to just keep growing your audience aimlessly because you want to make money. The whole point of posting these silly little YouTube videos is to actually make money off of them. And that brings us to the second type of video, which is your middle of funnel. These are what I call value videos. Videos where you only do one thing, and that is actually deliver the value that people know you for. Now, of course, this entire analysis hinges on the fact that you actually have value to provide. But if you do, value videos is where you actually provide said value. Now, value videos, of course, should still be interesting, right? YouTube is a click-first platform. Now, let me explain what that means. That means you could have the most incredible information within your video, but if no one clicks it, well then frankly, no one's gonna know. So that means even your value videos need to follow what I call the tripartite title structure. The tripartite title structure is what actually makes people wanna click on that video. So let me break it down for you, because it follows, as I said, a tripartite structure. The first thing your title has to be, and I emphasize has to, because you cannot have a YouTube title without this, and that is actionability. Every single title you have should tell the viewer exactly what they're gonna get out of watching the video. Step 2 is that title also has to be novel. It means you can't just say Dropshipping Guide 2026 because that's not novel. Instead, you have to actually be creative. You have to package your solution as something new, as something interesting, something people would want to know about. And the best way to do that is by actually finding a creative way to talk about your unique mechanism. Give it a name. Call it dopamine loading. Call it productivity maxing. It doesn't matter what you call it. You could call it this X name closing technique. You could call it Airbnb management. It doesn't matter what you call it. You simply need to make it novel. And the final prong of this tripartite structure is that it has to be controversial. If something just seems bland, no one's gonna click. You have to make bold claims, and in some sense, you have to almost clickbait your audience. But then the key here is your video actually has to deliver on that. If my title is how to make X amount of dollars in Y days with this YouTube funnel, well then my hook needs to validate that, and my video needs to actually be true. And that brings us to the next part of value videos, because once we have a good title, we then need to actually deliver the value. And the way that we do that is by following a really, really simple template. And this is exactly what I tell every single one of my clients that pay me thousands of dollars for this information. And what is that template? Well, you always start with the hook. And the sole purpose of the hook is just to literally hook people in, to reel them in so that they listen to the next sentence. Mind you, the point of the hook isn't to get people to watch the whole video, not to get them to watch the next 2 minutes, just to make them interested enough to listen to the next sentence. Because the next sentence that comes out of your mouth should be your promise. So it goes hook, promise. Now you might be asking, what the hell is a promise? Let me explain. A promise is exactly like your thesis statement. Do you remember when you were in school and you had to write these long 5-paragraph essays? Your teacher always said, at the end of your introduction, you need your thesis statement. Well, that's exactly what a promise is. It simply lays out what the video is going to be about and what the steps are in order to get the desired outcome that the video promises. Now, you can think of this as your backings. When you had your thesis statement, you had your 3 topic sentences, and each topic sentence had its own backing, which was reflected in the thesis statement. That is what this is. It is not rocket science. You're simply telling people what they're gonna get out of watching your video. Now, once you've actually delivered your promise, well, now you need to give people a reason to actually wanna watch your video. And why would someone listen to you? Why are you special? What have you done? What have you achieved? Why are you even allowed to speak on the topic that you're speaking on? And I simply put this as, what's your claim to fame? Now, your claim to fame could be something as simple as you're making money through a couple of Airbnb listings, or it could be as complex as you've closed $10 million as one of the top closers in a given industry. But you always have to give people a reason to want to listen to you. Just like in the beginning of this video, I told you that one of my clients has made over $12,000 off of one video just by using my framework. In the same way that I told you that this tiny channel allows me to make over $100,000 a month. And that's why you should listen to me, because I'm clearly qualified in teaching you how you can make money on your channel, even if you only have a couple hundred subscribers. Now that brings me to the next point, because after your hook, promise, and what I call your intro, i.e. your claim to fame, you need to actually have a CTA. Because without a CTA, it's gonna be really hard to make money on YouTube. Now, the reason I say you're not going to make money unless you CTA is because, okay, cool. You've hooked people in, you've given them a promise of a desired outcome, and you've given your claim to fame. You told people why they should listen. Now what? Well, now you have to actually have a call to action. You need to tell people what you want from them and how you can help them. Now, that's super, super simple. I'm not saying you have to have a 5-step webinar and a super long VSL and all of this nonsense. You just have to say, hey, look, if you want me to help you do exactly what I do best, whatever that might be, then click the link below to see if you qualify. That's it. That's all you have to do. That one sentence is how you CTA. You don't want to ramble for minutes and hours and whatever. You just want to say, hey, by the way, I can help you do this one thing. And if you want my help, then click the link below to see if you qualify. It's that simple. Because YouTube AdSense isn't going to pay us, but getting people to buy our back-end offers will. And that is actually step 3 of this very simple framework. Here is the backbone of the entire YouTube economy, because all of this hinges on what I call the information economy. Now, let me explain to you how this works, because honestly, this is the biggest gold mine that for the first time people are starting to talk about, but even now, no one actually realizes just how big this money-making opportunity is. Because the online education economy, the information economy, whatever you want to call it, is already a $250 billion opportunity. And in the next 10 years, this is only going to keep growing. In fact, by 2035, this will be a $2 trillion industry. Now, mind you, that is bigger than the pharmaceutical industry and the gaming industry combined. So that should tell you just about the scale of the opportunity you have before you. And that's why with such a small channel, with such few views, you can actually capture a sizable piece of that market and make literally hundreds of thousands of dollars. Now, you might ask yourself, why would someone pay thousands of dollars just for some information when you can Google literally anything? Well, let me explain. Because in this information age, information is abundant, right? You can literally watch on YouTube and learn literally anything you'd like. You can ask ChatGPT, you can go through Google, you can read articles, you can read books. Information is not the limiting factor. 100 years ago, it was, but now it no longer is. So then ask yourself, what is the limiting factor? Well, it's having the knowledge as to how to implement all of that information. And that brings me to my conclusion here, because people don't buy information. We call it the information economy. We call it all-in education, but we're not selling the information. What we're doing is we're selling the implementation. Because in this very video you're watching, I've given away all of my secrets. Sure, there's a couple more hacks and tricks and whatnot, but really, this is the bulk of it. This is the most important part. So then why would someone pay me instead of just watching this video? Well, because every single person will be in a slightly different niche and they'll apply things slightly differently. And I will help you implement all of these techniques. That is why I say people don't buy information, they buy implementation. And you should never gatekeep your information. In fact, how well you can describe things, how well you can deliver information is what builds the ethos. It's what builds the credibility for people to actually trust you in the first place. And that brings me to another prong of this analysis, which is there's a reason why YouTube is the engine of this information economy. There's a reason why it's the engine that powers this $250 billion industry. Now, what is that reason? Well, it's something very, very simple and honestly very human in nature. It's the fact that when you watch someone on YouTube, you start to trust them. And in a society and in an economy that is entirely devoid of culture, the platform which cultivates it will be the most important one. Now, let me explain what I mean by that. Because in case you didn't know, we are in a trust recession. People have never trusted each other less than right now. Trust in major institutions is at an all-time low. Trust in advertising is at an all-time low. Trust in companies is at an all-time low. I mean, even people to people, we have never trusted each other less. So how do you combat the trust recession? By making someone feel like they know you. By creating what's known as a parasocial relationship between yourself and your viewer. And that parasocial relationship is what then bridges you and the viewer and creates that requisite trust. Now, what's the one thing you need to conduct any financial transaction? Well, of course, it's trust. Now, we already know that people trust creators, influencers, 60% more than even their family when it comes to giving advice on a certain topic. And frankly, it makes sense because you wouldn't ask your mom or your dad how to start a dropshipping store. You wouldn't ask your mom and your dad how to make money with YouTube. You wouldn't ask your mom or dad to do any of these things because odds are they haven't done it. We know who you would ask? Someone who is actively doing it. And that is why trust is so paramount. And that's why YouTube is now the largest streaming service on earth. It's bigger than Netflix. It's bigger than cable TV. It is literally the largest streaming provider on the internet. So let me make sure you understand exactly what you need to do, because if you want to make money on YouTube, this is what you have to do. Number one, you have to choose your niche. You have to pick something that you are good at, something where you know more than most people. And by the way, people massively overcomplicate this because everyone is better at one thing than someone else, right? You don't have to be a world leading expert. You just have to be better than the person you're teaching. So number one, you pick your niche. Number two, you start posting on YouTube. You have your top of funnel, growth videos, value videos, liquidation videos. And I didn't even talk about liquidation videos because frankly, you don't really even need to worry about that unless you're making $100,000 a month on YouTube. Until you get to that point, just have a simple CTA as I told you earlier in the video. And then the third step is have an offer. Now, offers could honestly be an entirely separate video, but I'll just make it really, really simple for you. You want to charge as much money as you possibly can, that's going to be thousands of dollars, to help people achieve an outcome that you can help them achieve. And then, this is the most important part, you want to de-risk your entire offer. Meaning, if you don't actually help someone achieve the outcome you promise them, then they don't have to pay or you work with them until they actually achieve it. That is the most important thing when it comes to creating offers. The reason why I say all this is because maybe those 3 steps sound complicated to you. Maybe all this is very confusing, but it all boils down to literally just posting videos on the internet. To be honest, you don't even have to have your offer completely refined. You don't even have to do half these things. You just need to post and then try to get people to book a call with you. It is really that simple. And it honestly boggles my mind how people are sitting on this massive gold mine and the only thing they have to do is post and they still don't do it. So if I can tell you one thing in this video, just post. Because with as little as 700 subscribers and 600 views on a video, like Daniel, you can make over $12,000. And with a tiny channel like mine, you can literally make 6 figures with 300 odd subscribers. This isn't rocket science. The only thing you have to do is post. And with that, I'll see you in the next one.